The lucky ones died first.
One, two, three!
Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I am here with episode 5 of my Halloween Horror Movie Review Season 3, and this episode is going to be for a film made in the 70s. It was this next film Wes Craven did after The Last House on the Left. I had reviewed the remake 2 years ago, and I'll post a link to that review from the first season in the description below. Anyway, this episode, I'm going to be reviewing the 1977 version of The Hills Have Eyes. Yes. I reviewed the remake in the first season, now I'm reviewing the original in this season. So anyway, what's the plot of this movie? Well, like y'all already know with the remake, a family goes to California, accidentally goes through an air testing range closest to the public. Closed to the public. They crash and are stranded in a desert. They're being stalked by a group of people which have not emerged into modern times. Yeah. So anyway, the plot of this film, how was it made? Well, Wes Craven decided to make a non-horror film following his directional debut, The Last House on the Left, because he saw the horror genre as constraining. However, he could not find producers interested in financing a project that did not feature bloody violence. Craven's friend, producer Peter Locke, was interested in financing a horror exploitation film, and Craven decided to write the project due to his monetary issues. Craven considered collaborating with Sean S. Cunningham on a horror children's film based on Hansel and Gretel, but Locke wanted the film to be more in the vein of The Last House on the Left. According to Steve Palapoli of Metro Silicon Valley, the finished film still features elements of Hansel and Gretel, specifically his portrayal of people getting lost in the wilderness and setting a trap for their tormentors. Palopoli also noted the witch from Hansel and Gretel and the villains from Hills both try to cannibalize children. In writing the project for Locke, Craven decided he wanted something more sophisticated than Last House on the Left. He added that he didn't want to feel uncomfortable again about making a statement about human depravity. And searching for a story to film, Craven began looking up terrible things at the New York Public Library. While going through the library's forensic department, Craven learned that the legend of Sawney Bean, the allegedly head of a 48-person Scottish clan responsible for the murder and cannibalization of more than 1,000 people. What interested Craven in the legend was how, after Bean's clan was arrested and tortured, quartered, burned, and hanged, Craven saw this treatment of the Bean clan by supposedly civilized people as paralleling the clan's own savagery. Craven decided to base the film on the legend. And another major inspiration for the project was Tobe Hooper's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was one of Craven's favorite films. And Zachary Paul said that both films center on a group of vacationers who are stranded in the wide open nowhere and must protect themselves against a tightly knit family of cannibals. It featured an archetypal gas station of doom, much like The Last House on the Left before it. The film drew influence from the work of European directors such as François Truffaut and Louis Bruno. So, anyway, after the film was shot and released, The Hills Have Eyes would go on to earn $25 million at the box office and did spawn a franchise consisting of 1 sequel and 2 remakes. All subsequent films in the series were made with Craven's involvement. Well, when it comes to its follow-ups, the remake from 2006 was well received. Some even liked it better than this version. The 2 sequels were viciously panned. The Hills Have Eyes would then be released on VHS in 1988 and subsequently been released on DVD and Blu-ray, while Don Peake's score for the film was being released on CD and vinyl. Reviews for the film were positive, with critics praising its tense narrative and humor, as some critics had interpreted the film as continued commentary on mortality and American politics, and the film since became a cult classic. As for my reaction, well, like I said, y'all remember when I reviewed the 2006 remake 2 years ago? Back on my first year of YouTube, when I first launched Halloween horror movie reviews during COVID. Well, 2 years later, on this series' third season, I'm reviewing the original 1977 film that Wes Craven did after Last House on the Left. I finally had watched the original last week, and I gotta say, it's pretty good, but not as good as the remake, to me. Because, in spite of its clumsy opening, the film gets going rather quickly, leaving not a single moment to spare. When things get bad for our unfortunate family, they get really bad, taking a grisly and gruesome turn for the worst. The overall tone is that all bets are off, and it's never clear just who will survive and who will meet an unfortunate and unpleasant demise. The acting, especially from the villains, is spotty at best. They completely wasted Dee Wallace in tow, but the film doesn't succumb to that fact, as Wes Craven's second film, which was following up The Last House on the Left, which he first did, it shows signs as the true genius that would give birth to a Nightmare on Elm Street, with some interesting plot devices, like a dog becoming a main character in the final act, striking visuals, an eerie setting, and an unrelenting mean streak. Like, I really like the plot of both of these movies. Like, it's brutal, and it makes you wonder if it could happen to you and your family. Like, Craven imported a lot and created a suspenseful, violent, raw movie. Those elements are covered perfectly by decent acting, an efficient score, and a perfect diabolical direction. The acting is not the best, but it's comprehensive, as it's a low-budget movie. The characters are displayed in a manner that you can say there isn't acting at all, the way you can relate to them and later feel sorry for their fates. The villains are definitely not likable. The actors just did a regular portrayal of serial killers, but lacked of a heart to do it. In some parts, the movie looks like a spoof, but thanks to Craven's direction, it stayed as a horror movie. The events in the movie are breathtaking and do not make space for interpretation. Violence just happens and it can't be stopped. The torture that most of the family members suffer is very cruel. This movie has also even generated a lot of controversy through the years. Why? Because it's Craven's second movie, and also considered one of the most violent movies of all time, but not as violent as the remake, though, that I will say. Does it live up to the expectations? In my opinion, it does only just have justice, really. It's not as violent as many other exploitation movies, and sometimes violence just isn't necessary in movies, and the truth is that Craven created a great plot and crafted scary, violent situations. He even shows the brutality of humans not caring if they come to the city or from the hills. That said, though, so much more could have been done with this film, and its ending comes so abruptly that I pretty much left a rotten taste in my mouth when I first watched it. Major plot points rely on dumb character decisions and don't really make much sense. Would the card trap really work after breaking an axe? Plus, the attempt at exposition comes off as just rather silly. And I always wondered who those people are who live deep in the desert and what is going on in their mind, and the film represents an extreme example. But they're made out to be so over the top that it misses what could have been a lot of interesting anthropological information. And the interesting angle on survival in the heat of the desert feels curiously missing from this film, and have given a whole new element of ticking clock suspense. The military testing range element, the location adds a little creepiness at the start, but never comes back into play later. My favorite bits kind of come early with the characters exploring around the delightful, creepy, near-deserted gas outpost, only glimpsing their watchers momentarily. Now, what I find wrong with this movie is that you don't really care about any of the characters since there's no development of them. There are a few parts where the movie seems abrupt and just suddenly cuts over something, and you're left uncertain of whether it was intentionally done to build suspense or if the editor just got lazy, like when Bobby falls down after discovering Beatty's corpse. Not to mention the joke of an ending where Craven was probably put into the sort of situation where it's like, hey, we're out of film. Can't afford any more. Let's just leave it without any closure, and hopefully people will still like it because that makes it more cult. The plot doesn't seem terribly different from a slightly altered version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was released a few years before this movie. On the visual side, I wish the mutants looked a little more well mutated. More simply looks like a cross between a werewolf and Mr. Hyde from the 1930s, with the only character truly resembling any sort of mutants was Birdman, but he was pretty much already born like that. The plot does feel a little similar to Texas Chainsaw Massacre with a mad family of murderers lost somewhere in deep America. The pretty entertaining movie that keeps you alert for the first half hour. After that, everything seems to flag against a little relative. And the movie starts out great with a mysterious and ambiguous meeting between Ruby and the owner of the old gas station. When the All-Americans show up asking for directions, the tension is masterfully built. Once the trailer goes off the road, however, things come to a grinding halt. Characters behave in unrealistic ways, run off recklessly into the night, and take implausible risks. The hill-dwelling crazies seem to take an incredible long time to make an appearance, and waiting for them rather than drawing out the suspense actually kills it. The film descends into tedium. In the last third of the movie, after the attack on the trailer, restores some balance to things with some genuinely excitement generated. But for me, it was just a little bit too late. For a horror movie, and a Craven horror movie at that, there are surprisingly few scares and the gore is of ketchup variety. A highlight is the work of Robert Burns, who created such memorable sets for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, here working similar magic on an equally tight budget, creating believably sun-dried rottenness to the locations. Well, but besides the gripes I mentioned, The Hills Have Eyes, the original 1977 film, is not too bad. It has enough action and crazy characters to entertain you, but not really scare you. It's not Craven's best film, and probably in the same league as The Last House on the Left. An okay low-budget horror film, if anything. It separates final battles between heroes and villains and ultimately satisfying, especially the final shots. This probably would have been a much better film if it were more realistic, and established an attack as a form of defense method for the family to work with. But that's my opinion anyways. So, in the end, the 1977 original Hills Have Eyes is not a masterpiece compared to its superior 2006 remake, but it is way better than 1972's Last House on the Left for sure, and I recommend you stream this movie online or wherever you can find it. Anyway, that's it for my review of the 1977 Hills Have Eyes, and if you're wondering how I'm going to rank the 1977 Hills Have Eyes, here's how I'm going to rank this movie. So overall, if you want to see what Craven did after Last House, then I would easily give this a stream wherever you can find it, and if you're wondering how I'm going to rank the original 1977 Hills Have Eyes, I'm going to give the original 1977 Hills Have Eyes a 6.5 out of 10. There we go! That pretty much wraps up my review for the 1977 original The Hills Have Eyes. And now that I've reviewed both the original remake and original film, I bet I'm gonna have to review the two sequels to both versions eventually. But what's the next episode going to be? Well, our next episode is going to be back into the 2000s for a horror film released in 2008. And it was what Alexander Raja did after the Hills Have Eyes remake. And let's just say this. This one had evil reflecting in every reflection. Yes, guys. For those of you who probably don't know, Mirrors is the next episode. But until then, that'll be it for this episode. Thank you all for watching. And if you like this and want to see more, then don't forget to like and subscribe to Don G. Corleone. Another day in the horror movie lab, or the movie lab, or as you call it. What am I gonna watch this time for my next review? I'll just go here and select. I'll just close up and see what I've got. Evil Dead films. I'll review those later. Just put those aside for now. Maybe later. Alright. No. Trick or Treat. Good movie, but I'll probably review it till it's closer to Halloween. Maybe I'll review The Rain, but... Huh? What's this one? Captivity? Huh. Seems like a victim that's about to die in the movie. Huh. I don't think I've seen this one before. It seems like... Oh, Oh, it's from director Roland Hoffey, so maybe it should be good. Huh? Past me?
Movie Lover 120, I'm here from the future, here to warn you about something.
Well, make it fast, past me. I'm about to watch a movie called Captivity here.
Movie Lover from the present, I'm here to warn you something. Do not watch Captivity. It is one of the worst horror movies ever made.
Oh, really? Well, you don't know that. How would you know that?
Dude, I'm warning you. If you watch Captivity, you will regret it. I'm warning you. It is not a waste of time. You will just end up wasting 85 minutes of your life you're never going to get back.
You know what? Shut up, future me. I can do what I want. It's my channel, and I'm gonna watch Captivity whether you like it or not. So, goodbye. I can't believe that future me did not listen to my warning 2 years ago. And now because of that, I'm now stuck in this total alien state where I'm monitored non-stop. Where I'm a puppet to love some guy called Big Brother. Got banished to Oceania for failing to stop Movie Lover 120 for watching Captivity. Well, there's one way to punish him for doing that. Make him go through the torture I had to go through in the Ministry of Love. I'll find him. Movie Lover 120 is okay. Where's Movie Lover 120? Where's his name? What happened? What? He changed his name to Don G. Corleone. He must have did that, so I wouldn't track him down. Well, I have ways of fixing that. Don G. Corleone's location. There we go. Oh, you're gonna be so sorry you did not listen to my warning. I can't believe it's felt so long. Now that I'm on to 3 seasons and down to with 6 episodes of this 3rd season. Man, time just flies ever since 2 years when I started YouTube. I guess, you know what they say. I guess 2 years are the dead.
You are the dead. Remain exactly where you are.
That
Make no move until you are ordered.
Escape.
Now I can see you. Clasp your hand behind your head.
My house is surrounded.
The house is surrounded.
I may as well say goodbye.
You got that right, future me.
Pass me? What are you doing here, and why are you dressed up like a mechanic? That's right, future me. You didn't think I'd be banished this long. And I'm dressed like a mechanic because the place you banished me to, I have to wear this clothing and praise a historical figure called Big Brother and can't think any negative thoughts about him in a place called Oceania. And you may not remember something. 2 years ago, on this day, I came by to warn you not to review a certain horror movie. What, Captivity? Yeah, I remember reviewing it on the 1st season, but I don't really talk about it or joke about it much anymore. I tried to warn you, and you just had to disobey me, didn't you? Well, what do you expect? I'm a reviewer. I had to make people laugh for a rant. Well, for not listening to me, you'll be receiving a certain punishment. Hold on a guess. What punishment is that? You have to review the 1985 John Hurt movie, 1984. Wait, I have to review that? But it's not even a horror movie. Well, too bad, because you didn't listen to me, you're gonna have to do my orders. Now, Invisible Air, take him away with me. No, please, don't take me away, don't take me away, don't take me away, no!